Live and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers. We're talking about hip-hop's Latin influence. Hispanic artists, especially Spanish-language stars, have fought for collaborations with hip-hop artists for years. But now they've turned the tables and are being sought out by rappers to add excitement to their sound and new fans to their following. But as you're about to find out, the hip-hop Latin connection goes way back. Cardi B smash hit I Like It with Latin stars J Balvin and Bad Bunny has racked up more than 1 billion views on YouTube. The fact that J Balvin and Bad Bunny have verses in Spanish only heightened the song's immense international popularity. Latin artists and dancers have been involved since the earliest days of hip-hop, says artist and journalist Rob Markman.
From day one, Latinos have been a part of the birth of hip-hop and the growth and the expansion. From a street level, when you talk about going back to the Bronx and New York City and, you know, the formings of the first groups and the parties, you know, DJs were DJing and the B-boys were breaking. Crazy Legs from the Rocksteady crew is one of the most famous B-boys there is, one of the most famous dancers. I don't wanna be playing no more. I'm not a player, I just crush a lot.
Still Not a Player is on Big Pun's 1998 album, Capital Punishment. It was the first album by a solo Latin rapper to go platinum. His career took off with collaborations with his close friend Fat Joe and the Terror Squad. But unfortunately, he passed away in 2000 at the age of 28. Fat Joe went on to become a superstar, and both served as examples that Latino rappers could earn the fans and the critics' respect with their Latin heritage a part of their identity in an authentic way.
A lot of these artists are Latin themselves that people don't even know. I'm gonna give you an example. Casanova, Panamanian. Pop Smoke, rest in peace, he was Panamanian. I could go on for days. Fabulous is half Dominican.
That list could go on for days with artists who grew up with at least one parent Hispanic, from Lloyd Banks, Jim Jones, Nori, the Beatnuts, and Cypress Hill, all making their mark in mainstream hip-hop culture. Another big contribution of the Latin culture comes from dance and fashion, says artist Danny Lay.
I broke his heart, it's my fetish. Shawty a bird, feathers. Hey, when she stays together. I feel this energy from this side of the crowd. Like, I'm gonna go crazy to this side. I wanna jump in the crowd. Like, that's the type of artist I am. I just have fun. That's my favorite part of this career is performance. So I'm waiting for it.
For sure, the contributions of Hispanic artists are greater than we realize. Let's find out more with our panel. Joining me is Danny Lay. She's an artist. Danny, great to have you with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Also with us is Rob Markman. He's a VP at Genius and also a hip-hop artist. He has a song out right now, Strongest Woman I Know, on the Latin X Flow playlist. Rob, great to have you with us.
Hey, Lisa, thanks for having me back.
Thank you so much. Also with us is the one and only DJ Camilo, Hot 97 DJ, International Club King, warning heavy hitters. And he's one of the driving forces behind this expansion of the Latin flavor, the Latin influence in hip hop across the board. Camilo, thanks for being with us on this.
Happy to be back.
All right. Camilo, I want to start with you on this because of the sound. We're hearing more and more artists dropping Spanish phrases where before we would never have heard that. We saw the big success of Cardi B with I Like It Like That, with Bad Bunny and with J Balvin, who are huge in the Latino communities. Is it getting bigger and bigger, that connection?
Yeah, I think it's every year it's getting bigger, but you know, I also think that, you know, it's not a new thing. You know, we had that reggaeton explosion happening in 05, 04. But even before that, you know, you had the wave of Big Pun, Fat Joe, J-Lo in the, you know, in the mid 90s, late 90s. And so, you know, it's not a new thing, but it's definitely getting bigger.
Rob, what about in terms of hip-hop history? How far back does the Latin influence go?
I think, you know, we just got to always remember our history and know that Latinos were in hip-hop since day one. Like, this was a thing that was birthed in the Bronx in New York City. And when you think of Bronx, you think of Latinos, you know, you think of a lot of things, the Yankees, man, but Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, definitely heavy in the Bronx. So Latinos were there at the first parties. I mean, and just to shout it out, you got DJ Charlie Chase, who was the DJ for the Cold Crush Brothers, like seminal hip hop group. You got Lee Quinones and Graffiti and Lady Pink. Lady Pink was Ecuadorian from New York City. big graffiti artists, Crazy Legs from the Rocksteady crew, Puerto Rican brother, you know, very instrumental in the birth of hip hop, Devastating Tito, Prince Marky D from the Fat Boys. You know, you start going all the way up, you know, and outside of New York City, you got Cypress Hill, which was big and you know, we're bringing home platinum plaques. So Latinos have always been ingrained in hip hop and a part of building hip hop. And, you know, I don't want that fact to get lost.
No, definitely. Danny, you have a big hit with Dominican Mommy. You worked in the different types of genres of music. You've also worked with some of the biggest hip hop stars like Chris Brown, DaBaby. How do you see your Dominican and Latino background merging with hip hop?
I think it's unique. I think, like they said, it's always been there. It's always been something that's been happening for years. But I do feel like this generation has like carved a new sound in the Spanish game. Like I see a lot of Spanish artists tapping into drill now. I see a lot of Spanish artists doing like trap, even trap R&B, like Bad Bunny. So it is different, and I feel like this generation has put like I don't know, it's made Spanish a little bit cooler to me. Like I like it more than like what the natural Spanish would have been like back then, I think. So I think, yeah, it's like definitely doing a cool like combination and mixture of everything, like with the English generation and the Spanish, and it's doing a cool mix. But yeah, I love how everybody's tapping in.
Camilo, in terms of, you know, because back in the day, as you and Rob were talking about, there were artists and there were DJs who said, first we want to be considered good hip hop DJs and good hip hop artists who happen to be Latin. And that was like another layer that was added on to like the whole hip hop thing. But this merging that's going on, what do you think is driving it?
I think just music is expanding, and you know, on the Latin side of things, I think reggaeton and dembow has become so big. It's a global thing now. You know, there's times where last year I was playing in Dubai and I had to do a reggaeton set, you know. And with that being said, you know, these Latin artists like J Balvin, Bad Bunny, El Alfa, you know, they've crossed over. They've actually become bigger than the hip hop artists here, you know. So I just think that sound, that movement has gotten bigger, global. Pretty much it.
Danny, in terms of your music and your work, do you feel like they're trying to tap, because you have a huge fan base as well and a tremendous amount of popularity and a very diverse background, do you feel that part of the whole push towards including more Latin music and Latino artists is because the fans are so fervent and devoted and dedicated and there's so many?
In the Latin community?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think, you know, for some reason, Latins are like, they've always been super like faithful fans. Like, I'll get hate in America just from stupid stuff, but if I do an interview, like I did an Alafoque interview and I got nothing but love. And I was like, it's just a different, like, it's definitely a different like community for sure. But I see it definitely crossing over more and like people seeing it as a usual thing of like Spanish and hip hop, you know?
And then the type of projects that you're being offered, do you see any changes or evolution with those?
Yeah, I mean, I am tapping into the Spanish market right now. That's really like my next step. After I drop my album, I'm gonna focus on like the Spanish community. I locked in with Tiny. He's a really big producer. I'm sure you guys know him. And I know he's about to drop something like as a single with me on it. So I'm definitely like, you know, making my way over there, and like, I feel like I'm already accepted though. So it's really cool to like feel that love, you know, from my Spanish community. So it's gonna be exciting to drop a lot of music.
Coming up, what Latin artists bring to the table. Rob, in terms of what you see coming through Genius, because you guys track all the new songs, all the new music, is this a growing trend, or is it just they're making more hit songs and we're hearing the hit songs?
It's a combination of both. I mean, first of all, you're dealing with artists when you talk about, you know, Latino artists and Latin music. It's not a monolith. It's not confined to one country. It just doesn't come from DR. It just doesn't come from Puerto Rico or Ecuador. Like, it's all over and it's global. There's Latinos everywhere. And, you know, so you're really talking about a global music and a global language. Over at Genius, over the last couple of years, we have had artists, you know, we have our Verified series with the yellow background. Danny's been on it. You know, we love her.
Danny, for you in terms of musically, what do you see happening? Like what are some of the biggest influences that you feel are on your work right now?
I mean, I just love this generation. I feel like there's a lot of artists out right now that just have their own little niche. And I feel like that's what's really cool about the game right now and stuff. But as far as influences, I feel like, I get influenced by like legends so I can like reach that level. You know what I mean?
like give us an idea of some
I
of
get
them.
influenced by like Rihanna, by
Right.
J.Lo, by Beyonce. Like that's the level like I'm trying to reach and everything. So that's where I see myself going as far as like their business and everything that they tap into, movies and like just themselves being the brand of like being a boss woman and being a millionaire and all this. So that's my like inspiration. But no, I think this generation is really cool with everyone that's on it right now. I feel like everybody's killing the game. I feel like this quarantine time has given people to like be creative and like it's kind of like a virtual like situation for everybody. Like everyone has to be an artist online. It's not about like their concerts or anything like that anymore. So it's definitely a different time and it's giving artists some like good and then some bad, but it just depends on how you like do it,
Camilla, what about what Danny just brought up in terms of this, virtual time that we're in? You are a master at reading a crowd and getting the crowd going and getting the energy up there and just making it hot and pop and everything like that. But how do you think that because people are at home or at their office or in the studio so much more now, they're exploring more, is that having any impact on the type of music that's being created and this new exploration that Danny was talking about?
Absolutely. This is all new to us. We never been through this. And it's like, I'm positively sure everybody's doing homework nowadays, how to reinvent yourself, how to do new stuff. You never saw more DJs ever on the gram DJing ever. Like this is like, right. Whoa, so all of this is new. And me for one, I haven't done more homework than ever now with all this time off. You know what I'm saying? I actually had time to redo my basement, like, which I never had time before. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, yeah, this is the era of homework and reinventing yourself and what's new. And thank God that we have these things nowadays. Because imagine, having a coronavirus 10, 15 years ago, the socials weren't there, all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Rob, in terms of what's hot now, are you seeing any trends?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely trends and more collaboration. We're moving towards the genres blending more, because it makes sense. Like Camelo and Danny both said, it's good marketing, it's good reinvention. It drives streams. Let me tap into your fan base. You tap into mine. We can grow and we can get bigger. But I don't want to lose the fact that this is a natural thing, especially when you talk about Latin and hip hop culture. First of all, it all stems from the Caribbean anyway. Like Cool Herc was Jamaican, you know what I'm saying? So there's the sound clash part of hip hop, and there's a lot of Caribbean influence already in hip hop. And, when I see things like, a couple of years ago, Meek Mill Fabulous, who was also part Dominican, and Anuel did Uptown Vibes, you know what I'm saying? And what that record to me was like, that was just a reflection of what was going on when we were outside, what Dykeman felt like, you know what I'm saying? What La Marina felt like maybe back in the day, and Camelo can maybe be a better testament to this than me. But there was already a lot of blending going on in the parties, in the streets. You would do different sets, and the crowd, a mixed crowd, can enjoy a whole bunch of music. And I think the collaborations that's happening now is just a reflection of what was going on in the streets anyway.
And definitely, go ahead.
I want to add to that is growing up in New York, the whole Latin wave, it's nothing new. A lot of these artists are Latin themselves, but people don't even know. I'm gonna give you an example. Casanova, Panamanian. Pop Smoke, rest in peace. He was Panamanian. I could go on for days. Fabulous is half Dominican.
Jim Jones, Lloyd Banks is Puerto Rican.
Yeah, you can
Nori, right?
Nori, and we could moment.
Yeah,
Oye Mi Canto was huge at the time.
Exactly. We could sit here and just count the artists that we usually rap to. Oh wow, he's half of this and he's half of that, and you have somebody like Pitbull, who's Cuban, but Pitbull, he had that era in 2010 where he just took it somewhere else,
right,
and became this global, international, you know, which nobody could have ever seen happen.
Where do you think things go from here?
From here, it's just like everything else. It's evolving, you know. I also think that things come in cycles. Things come back. I mean, 2020 has been a tough year for all of us, right? So I'm sure there's a whole lot of experimenting going on and collabs that we don't know about, because now we don't, you know, artists are working differently now, and they're trying to step out the box, and they're able now to probably reach out with more time to experiment and do new things. So I think next year, 2021, we're gonna see a big another wave of a new evolution.
A whole new thing, a whole new level.
Yeah.
A whole new level. All right, Camilla, thanks so much for being with us. Rob, where do you think things go from here?
Yeah, I think it's only growth. I think we're going to see a deepening of these collaborations. I'm more interested in the ones that come very authentically. You know, I'm usually the type of person that's resistant of something that comes up in the boardroom, or some, you know, label person who never is in the streets try to put two things together and it doesn't work. I think if we have a lot of those, we're going to lose the momentum that we gained. I think we need to continue, and this goes out to any label people that are watching, any marketing people, take your cues from the streets, take your cues from the DJs, from the people out there in the parties, from the artists doing it on an organic level. And I think this thing can grow beyond anybody's wildest dreams. But if you start to just, you know,
I gotta agree, Mark. A lot of stuff nowadays, kind of, sort of, with labels are being forced, which is never cool, because you can't force. Oh, this is the Latin wave is cool now, so yo, I think we're gonna do this and push this type of song with this artist, and you know, forcing something never really takes it to the next level. You know,
you know what? I'm gonna call it out. Even like a couple of years ago, we seen it, which it broke my heart. The Justin Bieber Despacito, when Despacito was the biggest song in the world, and Bieber hopped on it.
Louis Fonsi, yeah.
We was like, oh, that's cool. Bieber's on Despacito. We was excited, and then, if you remember, there was the TMZ clip of him not knowing the words to it when he has to perform it, and he just started making things up like burrito, and that felt like, damn, bro, we was rooting for this, and you messed it up. So if you do it authentically. And like, you know, I like when like Drake collaborates with, like, you know, Romeo Santos, and Drake, we know Spanish is not his native language, but there's something about that I felt like Drake took the time to learn at least that verse and what that meant, and delivered it. And if Drake ever needed to perform that, I have faith that Drake can deliver that. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep that, and let's keep the silly stuff.
Right. So for the non-Latino artists trying to blend or to collaborate or whatever, respect the culture. Yes, everybody, and that's a great thing, I think, too, about Latino culture, Hispanic culture in general, is just, it's like the door's always open, the arms are always open, the party's always ready to pop off. Everybody is welcome. And maybe part of the reason too that things are, it's getting so much attention now too, is because of, you know, people need things to be happy about and feel good. Danny, I'm going to give you the last word. What can we expect from Danny Lay in 2021 to look forward to? Lift everybody up and get everybody dancing. Not as good as you, but you know, we'll get us moving.
That's the move. That's the goal right there. Get everybody dancing, making everybody feel good, because 2020 was crazy. As far as me, I have a lot of things coming up. I'm excited to drop my album that I've been working on for a really long time. And you know, this pandemic has pushed things back, but it's also given me time to really like perfect everything, and visually it's all done and ready. So I'm really excited. I'm coming big. Like, you guys will find out a lot about me. You will see new things of me. Like, I'm tapping into my sexy. I'm tapping into, you know, dance, everything. So I'm just showing all of me in this album and this visual. So that, and then, you know, I'm working on a lot of different business moves. I'm buying a house in DR, which is really exciting.
All right. Congratulations.
That's on brand. That's on brand.
Yeah.
All right, so party at Danny's house.
Yeah, come on, pull up. We got to see how America's about to turn out, because I don't know. I'm about to go move to DR or something. But that, and then, you know, just different business moves that I'm working on as well. So
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers. If you'd like to see the show again or share it, Street Soldiers streams 24/7 on our Fox 5 NY YouTube page. Just click on the playlist tab and you can binge for free on all of our episodes. Remember, use your mind, it's your best weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.